You're watching NDTV Hindu. Time to take a look at some of the business news. Well, gone are the days when all that young people wanted was a stable government job. Youngsters today are reaching for the stars. They hope to be the next Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. And looks like they're not asking for too much after all.
Sitash and Manik left behind their IT job with a fat salary just to follow their heart. Now, almost a year later, they have their company of their own, Jade Magnet, an online marketplace for creative solutions. Logos, banners, brochures, you name it, and they can get it all done for you on the net, that too in a jiffy.
So clients can log in and post their requirement and get all these things delivered from the platform itself. They can, because it's a crowd of people, a lot of people are there, so clients can choose which of the options to pick, which designs to take forward, and then all the advertising and marketing support requirements are delivered.
Done work with around 55 clients in the last 3 months with I would say around 120 odd projects. So it's been a decent start. There's a lot of work which needs to be done.
They're surely ambitious and they're not alone. More than 500 entrepreneurs took part in Startup City 2010. The budding business minds also got an opportunity to pitch their company to big firms and their business heads.
So forums like this, what they do is that it gets the right kind of people and puts them in the right kind of orientation. I mean, all of them have got very creative angles to creating value.
With many young entrepreneurs and an environment that boosts innovation, Chennai may be all set to become the ground for investors, small and big.
Startup City 2010 has put the spotlight on new businesses, bringing them a step closer to funding, clients or simply business tips from successful venture capitalists. Who knows, one of the debut businesses here might turn out to be the next multi-million-dollar game changer. In Chennai with camera person Naveen, Mithila, NDTV Hindu.
And we were earlier joined by the founder and CEO of Sulekha.com, Mr. Satya Prabhakar.
I think there are pros and cons of being an entrepreneur. I think one of the things that has changed a lot in India over the last 5-10 years is that your effort risk and then the financial risk are now taken by two different people. There are a lot of investors who are willing to take the financial risk, and you need to put in your thinking and your efforts, that risk you take. So from that point of view, it has become easier to become an entrepreneur in India today. At the same time, on the other hand, it involves a tremendous amount of hard work, dealing with different kinds of problems. And the most important thing in entrepreneurship is that there is only a 10 to 15 to 20% chance that you will actually succeed, right? The odds are overwhelmingly against the entrepreneur succeeding, and that's a fact, right? So one has to deal with both of them. On one hand, it's become easier, and on the other hand, it continues to be a very risky proposition. So when we began, while I was doing a full-time job, and I also wrote the software for the site and launched the site, and I took a risk of quitting my job for a year and working on this one. So that was a risk I have taken. But the thinking I took was, if I don't have a job for a year, that's a very small risk to take in the long span of time. When at the end of it, when you reach your 50s and 60s, you don't regret not having taken that shot. I think we have been operating here in this city for the last 8 years, and I think it has been remarkably supportive environment, and there is very little interference, very little intrusion into the work. So overall, the city has been pretty good for us in terms of finding the human resource and the capital required to raise to build a company. I think more important, I feel that ambition is an easy thing to have, right? But I think what is hard about entrepreneurship is the resolve and the determination, and that you'll be able to overcome and encounter problems that you can solve. I think the most important thing is to look fear in its face and say to hell with you, and then go after it.
Now, even as the tussle over fuel price rise continues among political parties, the Secretary of the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas defended the price hike. On his first visit to his hometown after assuming responsibility as the Petroleum Secretary, Sundaresan stood by his Finance Minister's decision.
The combined under-recoveries of oil marketing companies is of the order of 45,000 crores for the current financial year, and I do not think that you can forever live in a situation where the domestic consumer is continuously insulated from volatility of price in the international market. such a policy cannot be sustained in the long run, and hard decisions in this are necessary. That person, whoever is having a car or whoever is having a vehicle in India, is obviously the better off person in the country. So who is to subsidize him? So you want the poorer people of India to subsidize somebody who's driving a car, is it?
That was the Petroleum Secretary's rebuke to people who opposed the fuel price hike. Even as political parties refuse to let go of the issue, and the Aam Aadmi says that the hike has burnt a hole in his pocket, experts and government officials have supported the decision. The Secretary also told reporters that a decision on the Kirit Parikh committee will also be taken soon. The committee had suggested a 6 rupee hike on kerosene and a 100 rupee hike for LPG cylinders. He also assured that there was no shortage of LPG in the state at the macro level.
Plan Prahara, 73% of the population Tamil Nadu already LPG coverage. National average 50%. Our target in the 75%, 83% coverage.
He assured that the various government and private projects for gas pipelines in Tamil Nadu would be completed by 2012. The new private sector refinery coming up at Kadalur will also be functional within 24 months. In Chennai, with camera person Naveen and Nithala, Ragamalika for NDTV Hindu.
Now, a group of army cadets passed out his officers today at the OTA in Chennai. Our reporter Evelyn Matthew was at the grand ceremony, reports.
With stars in their eyes and hope in their hearts, 127 men and women clicked their heels and took the salute to become lieutenants at their training grounds. And like every cadet, this 23-year-old officer from Tamil Nadu is proud of her new title. A microbiology graduate, Nidhi is now a 5th-generation army officer who will soon join the intelligence arm in the northeast of India.
To give presentations and to work with brigadiers and major generals the moment you reach into the moment you're born in the army is something very big and very good exposure.
Nidhi was one of 26 other lady cadets. There were 92 gentlemen and 9 foreign cadets who graduated from the OTA. After their 49-week short service commission course, these officers now move to their technical postings.
With the new terms of conditions for short service, the Army is looking at a larger scale of short service commission, whether officers or women and gentlemen. And each year progressively we are expanding.
The passing out parade and the pipping ceremony reviewed by the Vice Chief of Army Staff, PC Bharadwaj, were an emotional moment for the families of the officers as it was for the academy. In Chennai with camera person Balu, Evelyn Matthew for NDTV Hindu.
Well, we'll look at IPL in retrospect. The whole week that's gone by, that's coming up next. Stay with us.